Okay, let's get started. I'll share my screen as per usual. I'll just pop you on mute and let's get started. Okay, so we had last week where we did the first session on how to self regulate, and I focused on pretty much just our basic needs and also talking about just how we can self regulate as an individual, what dysregulates us as well. Also, making a list of things that regulate us. So that's really important too. Having our basic needs met, having a list of things to regulate our nervous system, and identifying what are the things that actually dysregulate us as well. Many of us probably grew up not even realizing when we were dysregulated, what actually dysregulates us, and knowing that it's actually happening. So I think that with the first part, it was the real focus on checking into your nervous system. Where are you on the polyvagal ladder? Knowing how to do that through your body and learning those skills because it's something that we didn't really learn growing up. So, part two is more focusing with relationships. Now, we can learn how to self regulate on our own, but as humans, we are born to be in relation to another. We are born to bond, to attach, to belong in a group, in a community with others. So, a lot of the time, the thing that dysregulates us can be when we're in the presence of other people. So, this is why I've broken it up into part one, and then I've got part two. So, part two focuses on relationships. Why isn't it easy to self regulate? So, we're going to go into, why it's so hard for us to self regulate in relation to another. Now, let's talk about radical responsibility. And I talk about this because on a subconscious level, we don't even know it's happening. We can go into a mode of desperately wanting someone to fix us, to rescue us, and what happens in that space is we give away our power and we fall into the victim role. Now, I'm going to go into all these roles. We're going to develop on this slide here. So there'll be more information to come. We don't realize we're doing it. This is the thing. So that's why I'm sharing this information, because there will be certain patterns we fall into in personal development that we don't necessarily know that we fall into it. This is why I bring it into the awareness, because it can be quite subconscious. We can also control people in our lives by fighting and trying to control things. And we then become the prosecutor. And this is where we blame other people, we try to control other people, and then that creates a disconnect. So we disconnect, creates disconnection and more of a feeling of being out of control. So it creates the opposite. It's the same as when we're trying to get rescued as well. It creates the opposite because it creates a powerlessness within us. And then there's the rescuing that we may do for others. So that what I've got here is there's no amount of rescuing that we can give someone else that will make us feel strong, powerful, worthy, and valuable. So generally, when we're trying to rescue someone else, that's what we're trying to achieve, are these inner feelings of um, valuable, being worthy, being strong. So if I do this, I'll be safer, or they may be the same for me too. Say they may do the same for me too. So often in the rescuer role, we also want them to support us in that way too. All of these roles that I'm mentioning are what dysregulate us. This causes a dysregulation and a cycle that we can get stuck into. So, in order for us to change and to start self regulating, it's a lifestyle change, and becoming really aware of where we fall into, what role we fall into in our relationships. Is also accumulation of making decisions from a place of empowerment and not powerlessness or fear. And that's what we do in therapy, is to really identify the disempowered part of us so we can hear what it needs and give it a voice. So the drama triangle. Now, the drama triangle was created by Stephen Kapman in 1968. And I think this is a really good way to, it's for anyone really. Even therapists can look at this drama triangle as well. It's like, do we ever fall into the rescuer role? Yes, absolutely, therapists can. As an individual, yes, we can fall into the rescuer role in relationships. So in a relationship, we can fall into this role of trying to support our partner and find ourselves enabling either behaviors and trying to sort of rescue them from their discomfort. And this is the reason why we go into rescuer role, is because we're also uncomfortable in ourselves too. Fix it mode, that lives in the fight flight part of the polyvagal theory ladder. Fix it. So that's a rescuer. Then we've got the victim, the self, feels helpless. So this is generally at the bottom of the polyvagal theory ladder. It's the shutdown response, but it can also come into the persecutor as well, where we blame out. Because if we, and I'll go into that as well. So the victim pulls in the rescuer to save them, but eventually feels controlled or judged. Again, this happens on a subconscious level. So what happens is what happens is on a subconscious level, the victim pulls in the rescuer to save them, but then eventually feels controlled and judged by them, because it's happening on a subconscious level. If it was happening on a conscious level, it wouldn't happen like that. The rescuer feels unappreciated and may become the persecutor if they are wanting to control the outcome. And then the victim then blames the persecutor or seeks a new rescuer. So this is why it's on a triangle, because it can vary where you kind of fit on the triangle, and it shifts. The roles constantly rotate, keeping everyone trapped in emotionally dysregulated sort of space. So blame, the persecutor lives in the fight flight. The victim lives more in the shutdown, and the fixer lives in the fight flight as well. So here I've got some examples. So the victim role, projecting helplessness and blame. Projection that happens here. Blames others for their emotional pain. You're making me feel this way. Believes they are powerless to change their situation. Example, if you really cared, you would fix this for me. You don't care at all. Projects helplessness outwards, expecting rescue or validation. If you stay here, you feel increasingly powerless and dependent. You miss opportunities to grow resilience, problem solving, and self soothe. And relationships can feel heavy, one sided, eventually lead to others to withdraw. We've got then the persecutor role. Persecutor is the anger, projecting anger and shame. So projects internal shame and fear as criticism, control, or emotional attack. Tries to regain a sense of superiority to avoid feeling vulnerable. So, so it's an example is, you're so useless, you never do anything right. Projects their own fear or inadequacy by attacking others. I don't need your support anymore. I found someone else who suits me better. Projects unmet needs or superiority by discarding the relationship instead of working through the feelings. So to continue on with that, if you stay here, persecutor role is kind of like, this is the role where we really do push people away. You push people away and build resentment and fear around you. You stay stuck in cycles of anger, defensiveness, and isolation. Deep feelings of shame and loneliness increase over time. If even if temporary masked by superiority, you avoid deep emotional intimacy growth because you're projecting yourself through dismissal. You reinforce internal beliefs of people can't meet my needs, or I have to be above others to feel safe. Over time, you create patterns of isolation, shallow connection, or serial relationship ruptures based on unspoken resentment. And then there's the rescuer role, projecting inadequacy and fear of being unneeded. So believes others can't cope without their help, overfunctions to feel needed and valuable. Example, you can't handle this, you need me to step in. Projects their fear of abandonment by fostering dependency. So if you stay here, you become emotionally exhausted, resentful. You prevent others from developing their own resilience and independence, and your self-worth remains tied to being needed, making it hard to form balanced mutual relationships. So the rescuer role, projecting inadequacy, fear of being unneeded. So I wanted to bring it all together. So one way you can do that is like in a relationship, Controlling through care. So your partner avoids commitment or responsibility. You take charge of everything, scheduling, finances, emotional processing, believing they just need guidance. You say, I just want to help, but secretly believe if I fix them, I finally get the relationship I want. When they resist, you feel unappreciated or angry, shifting into victim or persecutor role. So this comes to like, those are the different roles that we can play. Every person in this world can fall into these roles on a subconscious level, from therapists to doctors to police officers to teachers, to people in relationship, in any type of relationship, a friendship or even a romantic relationship. We can always fall into these roles. And the purpose of me sharing this is to become aware when we do that, because what that will do is through that awareness, we can then start to shift these patterns and cycles we find ourselves in and go more directly for what we want and need. So why we resist self-regulation? The biggest reason is shame, exposure, and vulnerability. So self-regulating helps us feel, just in general. Self-regulating helps us feel. If our coping is to numb, distract, avoid, or blame out, feel overwhelming. It can feel overwhelming at first, and your mind will become loud. So as we start to expose parts of ourselves that want to be rescued, or are more in the victim or persecutor, we start to feel attacked in some ways, judged. We can feel all sorts of feelings can come up around this, that we feel shame because we're falling into those roles. And the point of becoming aware is not to shame ourselves or judge ourselves, it's to bring the awareness there so we're not subconsciously abusing each other in relationship. So our protector parts are making our everyday decisions, behaviors, and thoughts and keep us activated, triggered in cycles of fear response. When we fall into the victim, persecutor, and rescuer role, we're in a survival response, a fear response. So that our protector keeps us in that because it's familiar, but not necessarily healthy. It's what we learned as children. It's our coping mechanism. When we stop blaming others or ourselves, we then need to turn our attention inwards. And this can be really difficult. For example, a common childhood protector, the inner critic or the perfectionist, which develops to shield us from feeling inadequate or rejected. So, so we learn from early experiences of conditional love or criticism. So when we remove this shield, we feel vulnerable because that shield was kind of like protecting us from negative criticism, which, as we know, we're always going to get negative criticism, negative feedback, so we can never actually protect ourselves from it. So it can be quite dysregulating when we start to behave differently and start to lose that persona of the perfectionist, because it's scary. The reason why we created it is so we could avoid rejection and avoid negative feedback. So we come to a crossroads. We can either continue behaving from our fear and protector and create outcomes that dysregulate you and keep you in survival. It feels familiar and at the same time keeps us dysregulated, recreating patterns that are harmful to us, ourselves, and others. So the way that you know you're falling into these roles is if in your relationships, whether it's at work, romantic, friendships, or family, if it's a reoccurring problem, if you're getting these reoccurring problems, you will be guaranteed that you're falling into one of these roles. So we've got to self-reflect and start to bring awareness to the patterns, and also to the patterns and the harm they are doing, so that you can change them and create healthy connection. So final thought, many of us operate from our protector parts and reactivity and create same suffering. The only way to change this is to operate from awareness, presence, and choice. Instead of being controlled by our autonomic responses, we can choose to pause, reflect, and engage with our emotions and needs and in way of alignment with our true self. Your nervous system isn't broken, it learned to protect you. Now it can teach you how to feel safe again. So that is the end of part 2, which is a little quicker, just bringing it all together. As I said before, it's about bringing awareness to these parts and these roles that we play, and also awareness to why we actually started these roles in the first place, why we fall and default into certain roles. And generally, it is tied to what we created when growing up to feel safe, and what we were praised for, what we were sort of conditioned to be. So whether we were conditioned to be the rescuer, to be a good girl, good boy, whether we were conditioned to be more of the victim because it made us small and we didn't stand out, or maybe we got our own way through fighting and being the persecutor and blaming out and defending ourselves. So just knowing why these different areas come up, and then bringing acceptance and kindness to those spaces as well. So that is that is the slide. How did you go, Kate?
Yep.
Any questions on that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you well.
um, what I found interesting
Yep.
is why we resist self-regulation.
Yep.
Because I was like, last week I was really pumped, and I was like, take radical control, woo! Like I have a choice, and then I was like, and for a few days I was going great,
Yep.
and then I don't know, my birth, whatever it was like something inside me is like, I don't want to do that. I know it's like my brain goes, I don't know how to do all those things. Like when I'm in shutdown, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. And
Yep.
so, and I could feel it. And then you feel shame because you're like, come on, you meant to just take radical control here. Why aren't you? Right. Yeah. And so I thought the most interesting thing for me was, I cannot read my writing. The first one, self-regulating helps us feel. And if your coping mechanism is to numb or distract, it's actually really confronting. And I'd say that's what's going on for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yes.
like, because I was like, why am I not, why is this so hard, kind of thing. I
Yeah.
know what's good for me. Um, and then, so if that's correct, and then you wrote that when you can feel, the stuff comes up. So it's kind of like, why on earth would you want to self-regulate then? Because it's
Yeah.
all. So I feel like that's where I'm like, I don't know, there are questions, there's stuff. And yeah, and I've been feeling an intense shutdown. Like if I have even my partner like is slightly dissatisfied with me, my I just go like
Yep.
that. So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really like you bringing in what happens for you, where you're like,
Because you're giving us all the answers, right? And I'm like, well, why can't I do this? Why
yeah,
is this so hard? I've got all this time, like, well, that's, yeah.
it's really good because on the first slide, how I said no one can fix you, and I forgot to mention in that slide is we can only change our nervous system. Like we are the only ones that can do that. So I can give you all the information in the
Yep.
world, and there's nothing, like I can't actually change your nervous system
Mm.
and or the state of it. And so
Yep.
there's that. There's also this interesting thing around what I noticed is like when you were talking about being in shutdown and then
Mm.
feeling shame for being in shutdown because you're like, oh, I should be here. Like I should
Yep.
be, taking radical responsibility. And what I want to clear up there is your ability to identify that you're in shutdown is taking radical responsibility. So
Yeah. Okay.
it's not about being perfect or being up on the ladder and motivated and all those sort of things. It's
Mm.
about acknowledging, oh, today I'm in a shutdown. I feel foggy. I feel heavy.
Mm.
I feel unmotivated. and noticing that within yourself, because even bringing awareness to that, you're already ahead of a lot of people who are functioning from reactivity. So when you even bring awareness to that, you're functioning from response. So you're like, okay, now I know I'm here. And so that's what I mean by radical responsibility. So it's,
Okay.
yeah, it's not about like being really capable or like, anything like that. It's more about checking in and knowing where you are on the nervous system ladder. So
Okay.
when you're taking action, you're doing it from that place.
Mm. Yeah. Mm. So I guess where I'm stuck is, and I kind of understood that, or some part of me wants to or not understand that.
Yeah. What was confused? What would you say was confusing about that? Like, or what do you feel you don't understand about it?
I feel like I just zoned out. It's like
Oh,
someone didn't want to hear it. Not like it's not because you're boring. You're not boring. It's like someone's like blah blah blah. No, I think it's like the perfectionist is like that's not good enough, like
yeah.
kind of thing. The
Yeah. So
shame.
where
I'm being shamed a lot at the moment inside. I'm like, this is not very nice. Um,
uh,
it's really fighting with it. I am. Yeah, it's just like, um, yeah, but I guess I'm really interested in this, the resistance to the self-regulating. Um,
yeah. Where are you trying to get to? So when you're like shutting down,
mhm,
what are you shaming yourself for? Like what comes up?
not getting things right, upsetting
Oh,
someone, even though whether it's my fault or not, I don't know.
yep.
Like I'm feeling financial pressure, so I feel at the moment, but I don't need to really, but I will. But so I'm feeling like you can't even barely get out of bed and like
Mm-hmm.
do stuff. How are you going to get a job? Like, you know what I mean? That kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
and then you feel worse about yourself. Like you feel you're useless. Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. All that kind of useless shaming, kind of like can't get it right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
upsetting people. Yeah,
Yeah. So
can't barely function. Like yesterday, I went hiking to try and like fix my nervous system, but I had this narrow, tiny vision like this. Like, hmm, yeah.
so there's this urge to like come out of the shutdown. So you're like trying everything,
Yeah,
fighting to come.
forcing it. Yeah, I'm kind of fighting with it.
Yes. Okay. What would happen if you weren't fighting with it? What would happen if you completely remove the fighting?
Well, I'd just stay in bed all day and absolutely nothing would happen.
Okay.
Is maybe a story I've got, but yeah,
Because we know that slowing down for you is creates like that nervous energy, yeah? Like
yeah,
slowing. Okay.
absolutely.
So it's layered in that. So would you say that you're actually fighting to not slow down? So you're like, no, 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 we can't do that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Confusing. Mm, yes, there's definitely something in there like that.
Okay. So there's a part that wants to slow down, but you know what it sounds like? It's catastrophizing if it slows down. Like it's like if you slow down, you will never get up again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey,
Mm,
yes, right. So you feel like you're in the shutdown. There's catastrophizing that happens there,
mm,
and then it also shaming because it's like, what are you doing here? You're not going to get anything done. You've got the financial pressure, so all these things come in. So then it like
mm,
overwhelms you.
yeah, and then it's all too hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens when you bring that part of you online, like your observer that observes all this?
Well, earlier in the week, before I sort of, yeah, when I was able to actually have a couple of conversations with my partner where it was like either I said something funny or she said something funny, and it was like, what's going on really? And then we're like, like,
Yeah.
so we're able to do that and it feels good and it
Yeah.
doesn't feel threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this makes so much sense. I'm just reacting like this from something in the past. It's like, oh, I didn't even know that was there. That's what it feels like.
So there's a part of you that knows you're reacting from something that's in the past.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, tell me more
And it's
about
like
that.
I'm desperately trying to find out what that is all the time. It's very busy there.
Okay. Okay,
It
so
just wants to get this over and done with so I can just live a normal life or something. But there is no normal. Yeah.
uh
There's impatience. I don't know. There's lots of things.
yeah, there's this common thing that I get as a counselor where people can come in and because feeling so dysregulating can feel uncomfortable, like it's so
Yes.
uncomfortable. And there's this like, I just want to get rid of it.
Yes.
Just want to get rid of it. And that's where it's not like there's nothing that can get rid of it,
Mm.
but it's working with the nervous system. So it's like the lifestyle stuff. But I when you say it's a reoccurring thing, you're absolutely you would have something there that could be processed and looked at and worked with.
Okay.
Yes.
Hmm.
But it's also like there's also a part of you that I'm hearing that wants to try to get rid of it so then you can feel what would you feel if you got rid of it?
Happy. I don't know. Less traumatized all the time. Less afraid of people. I'm very afraid of people and I'm getting worse and worse. Like I don't want to work for anybody. I can't live near somebody. Um, yeah,
Okay.
but people are dangerous kind of thing. It comes and goes, but it's like I've also eradicated people that weren't good in my life, so it's confusing to me. Yeah.
And it feels like it's like these busy thoughts as well. Like it's like this busyness that comes in. It's like all these things that,
Yeah.
yeah, that,
There's never any peace. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So what you're wanting is peace. If you get rid of it, you'll get peace.
Yeah.
Okay. Happy and peace.
And good relation, like a relationship that's, yeah, like good relationships.
What's a good relationship feel
Well,
like?
less arguing. I don't know. We're not arguing that much, but like understanding. I don't know. The things I'm annoyed at the things from my childhood that come up like, because yeah, or ashamed, or I don't know. It gets in my way of just, you know, yeah.
So it sounds like so it's like, okay, happy, peace, probably peace in your relationship too, then let's say.
I mean, there is, but yeah, I wish, yeah, there's things that I do that I'm like, what am I even doing? Why did I say that? Like, like
Uh-huh.
little things or something. And I used to do it heaps more, but like, yeah, um,
So there's like some regret,
sabotagey stuff.
sabotage. So regret comes in when you've said something.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
like it just things come out and you're like, bleh. Like, can I just like take that back? Like,
I, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Uh,
mm,
what would happen if you accepted that part of you that does that?
I don't know. Probably just feel peaceful.
You know, like that you
I'm
just,
striving to perfection, of course. You
yeah.
know,
So just say like you say something that offends your partner,
yeah.
you realize that it's just come out and you're like, oh,
I think it's because I'm scared of confrontation. It's because I've agitated somebody. It's like, yeah, if it
mhm,
makes sense.
yes.
It's probably, I don't like hurting feelings either. Uh, um,
So you feel like it's attached to being scared of confrontation. So what happens when you like blurt something out?
she usually gets really upset, but
Yeah, what
sometimes,
happens?
uh,
What's happening for you at the time where it comes out and you're like, I don't even know how that like.
sometimes I'm just being silly.
Okay.
Mm,
And then it's heard as by your partner.
mm.
How is it heard?
I don't know, like it's like sarcasm or something like that, or yeah, I really toned it down, but yeah. I think my family used to use a lot of like jokes that aren't jokes kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we're
Sometimes,
going around in circles.
sometimes when I'll bring it together. Sometimes
Cool.
when we do that, like say when we use humor to cover things up or sarcasm,
Mm.
any of that, it will land for someone differently if we are charged in it. If we're
Oh, okay.
saying yes, we're saying it with an underlying tone of like there's something else. It's almost like we're saying it, but we're not doing saying direct.
Yes, I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
Like I used to use humor all the time because I couldn't just say how I felt or
Yes.
whatever. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Um, you just sort of say funny, weird things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of, yeah, you couldn't just say, yeah. So what you're saying is they can feel that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So there's something underneath that. So often if you feel like
Okay.
what you can do is when that comes out, you can be like, "Oh, wait a minute. Can I just feel into what's actually underneath that?"
Yep. Okay. That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. And then express that.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Then there's the other part so that you've got like peace in relationships, that's a goal, peace in life and happy, feeling happy.
Mm.
So what I say about goals and working with the nervous system is bringing things into your life that bring you that now. So like what makes me happy? And I know that you've got your farm and the animals on your farm make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so and does that also bring me peace? Like what brings me peace? What brings me peace in relationships?
That's the question, is it?
Yeah, it can be a question for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because once we get to that, then we can start practicing those things in our everyday life rather,
Yeah. Okay.
rather than seeing it as if I get rid of it, I'll have that. It's
Oh, yeah.
how can
Yeah.
I have
I
that
see what
now?
you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see where you're going now.
Yeah. How
So,
can I have
like,
that?
you kind of got this, it feels like this unattainable goal because you've got this monster in the middle of
Right?
trauma that
Yeah.
you're just like, well, what brings me peace in relationships? Well, getting along, I don't know,
Yeah.
sharing nice times together.
Yeah.
Um, see, connection. Sometimes
Mhm.
I'm been struggling a bit with that connection, but I think that's because I'm disconnected within myself, right? Is that correct? Is that it?
Yeah. Sometimes if we're in the fear response, we find it hard to connect.
Mm,
It's like we're feeling a distrust or we're feeling,
yeah.
something's there that's causing us our wall to come up, our protector to come in.
So it's just so it all comes back to the nervous system,
Yes.
and so that means that I have to really just work, and that's to do with like yoga and I don't know what all the other stuff is it? Keeping that nervous system good, safe.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely has to do with that. So like a balance of that and then in partnership, being able to identify or even reflect on when you've said something because sometimes it might come out and you're in practice, like sometimes it takes us a bit of practice
Yep.
get to a point where we don't say it at all, but for now
Yeah. I got better. I got so
it,
much
and it can even be a discussion when you're grounded to go to your partner and say, hey, I know that sometimes I use sarcasm and humor and whatever it is,
mm.
and there's something and you're feeling like there's something underlying that I'm going to start, this is my practice, I'm going to start to go underneath. So anytime I say something and it comes out of my mouth, I'm going to try to go underneath and tell you what's really happening for me.
Well, yeah, she's been good occasionally going, where's adult Kate? And I'm like, oh, I'm like, it's sort of like I have this like playful kind of 13-year-old or something in there that's like, "Ah." And she's like, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm like, what's that about? Yeah.
And you know what? We all have that.
Mm,
So we've all got these like where we regress back to certain ages,
mm,
might have a tantrum or we might have a rebellious part or like we've all got that sort of
mm. I like this goal stuff
yes.
about, yeah. So I wrote down here, I can have peace now.
Yeah.
But it's about choices and it's about having the right things around you and stop trying to, I don't know, go for perfection and just do the things that your nervous system needs.
Yeah.
But I
And
guess somebody inside me is like, well, that's all well and good, but like if you can't like earn money, it's like you're gonna be homeless. That person's pretty busy in there.
yes. So the catastrophizer comes out when you're in shutdown and says, well,
Mm.
you can be homeless. What are you going to do? So, um,
You don't have time to do all this stupid stuff.
right.
This is not making you money. Like this is a waste of time.
And this
So
is a challenge. This is like a challenge where even people watching the replay, this
mm,
is a legitimate challenge when you've had trauma growing up, which many of us have, depending
mm,
on the severity. Your nervous system is now trying to come back as you're working with it to
mm,
regulate, to be able to function in society.
mm,
What is happening is like you're like, I need to also earn money while I'm doing this. And that's
mm,
absolute need. Like that's a basic
mm.
necessity. So you're balancing that out at the moment. What needs to also happen though is a trust that if I focus on my nervous system, there's this trust, the unknown, right? That's
Yes.
going to support me to come into work.
Yep.
Creating plan once I've got a space to create a plan around work, but first really honoring that and trusting that that's going to support me in my work.
Yeah. Because when you're not great, your mind's is like hope you feel hopeless, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we're in shutdown, the last thing we can do is create plans and be motivated and be all creative. Like it's the
Yeah.
last thing. Um, Fight flight brings us up to get into motivation to shift our nervous systems. That's when we can go do the yoga and do exercise and go for that swim. And then
Mm,
once we're up the ladder into the calm state, that's when we can create that plan, be really solid in like that grounded version of us of like, well, what do I
yeah.
want to
Mm. Yeah, because you get, I guess, yeah, like the dorsal vagal is like the my shutdown is my go to, I guess.
do? Yeah.
And yeah, and in that you feel hopeless and you feel yeah, all of those things. So then
Mhm.
you course and then you don't feel like you can motivate yourself to do. Well, it's just
Yeah.
very interesting, isn't it?
Yes. And I want to share like it happens to all of us.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Because all I want to be is up the top, right? But yeah, you sort of I'm like wee 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 like woo, woo, woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So mm,
You're in the process of widening your window of tolerance. So
mm,
that's why can feel uncomfortable. There is a trust in holding that tension as well.
yeah, I need to trust that more because I sort of mm, yeah.
Is there any other questions you have?
Look, I don't know. Just got to keep working on everything, I guess, and I think trusting myself. It's hard when you all these people going. Trusting myself that you know, by doing this stuff, I will be functioning better and I will be able to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
But catching the distractor is quite amazing. It's so busy. Like I just, Fee was getting upset because I was like overhauling all of our budget, and I was like, we could buy all of our groceries for 6 months. And I was like, I've been like, going, how much toothpaste do you think we use? And she's like, oh my goodness. Anyway, but it is my zone of genius. I'm like, this is my zone of genius. And she's like, And I was like concocting all these different. I was like, "Did you know that we?" And she's like, and I still want to do it, but it's like I want to do it not in fight and flight.
Yes.
Because I was
Yeah.
like, "This is genius. We can get bulk." And she's like, "Oh my!" Like, anyway. So
Yeah. So if you're a genius in fight flight, could you imagine what it would be like in, up in the ventral vagal where you're
but
calm?
I tell myself that this is what I need to do to be safe, I guess. Yeah. But like that just distracted me from obviously whatever feelings I had going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So focused on crunching the numbers.
And I think also um when you've been so resourceful in fight flight
Mm.
to shift that dynamic and trust that I don't need to be in fight flight to be resourceful. Like I
See,
don't
that's
have.
it, isn't it? Is that why I like lost my nana building a house?
Yeah.
We need to get to the bottom of this in our next session.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how can I do this without losing my nana? Like, I can't, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like
Hang
unfamiliar
it.
territory, right? Like
I
it's
don't know how to do things not in fight or flight. It's kind of like,
yeah. Who am I? Who am I when I'm not in fight flight? Who am I when I'm grounded, present?
I'm not quite familiar with that.
Yeah. This is the part of you to become more familiar with.
Yes, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
Connected, creative, that's where our
It's
creativity.
like I had to be frightened to get into doing things, kind of like big
Yeah.
things.
Yes.
Anyway, it's either dorsal vagal shutdown or whoa, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Because it was safer for you to be in fight flight
Mm.
or shut down as a kid than what it was to be in the up the top, feeling calm, connected, present.
I'm guessing no one around me was those things. Like I
Yeah,
never saw an example of it.
that too. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that I like the seeing that, like accessing that part of you. So
Yeah, I'd like to access it some more.
yeah, yeah, and we call that building the evidence too. Like I call that building the evidence. So
Oh,
once
yep.
you get up there, it's
You're
like,
like, oh, hey, how
yeah,
do I feel up here? This is where I am. Like,
yeah. What happens here?
I'm
What
here. Okay.
what are the benefits here? And
Yeah.
really feeling into that and accessing that and integrating that. So when I say integrating, it's like that felt sense of noticing. We say with gratitude and looking at nature, and you would do this probably without even realizing you do it. When you have your cup of tea and you're looking outside, you see a bird,
Yes.
and you're like,
I
oh,
do like that when I see that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's being present,
Yeah.
connecting with your present environment and seeing it also like the things that you like. So that's like going into gratitude, and that's the natural
Mm,
way that we can do it.
gratitude.
Mm.
Wow, this has been a big session.
There you go. So that would wrap it up. So there's also
No
like,
worries.
what you tell me, what did you get out of this? What's your takeaway?
Well, I'm still, well, so many different things.
Mhm.
Quite amazing. And hopefully this is helpful for other people to
Yeah.
go into my noodle. Uh, the fact that you resist, that's what I found really interesting. Realizing that there's some part of me that is resisting self regulation. So I can spot that because I'm just like, couldn't see that and could see that I just wasn't doing stuff. So then you're like, what, you lazy so and so, you know what you're meant to be doing, but you're not doing it. So you go, oh, hey, what are you worried about there? Like, yeah, so I don't know. There's just so much good stuff.
So with that part that shames you now, what will you do when that happens?
Probably if I feel shame, I need to stop
Mm.
and go underneath and go, why am I feeling shame?
Mm.
Hello in there.
Yeah, having that.
um,
I love that. Yeah.
like, hey, what's haps? Like, you feeling a bit shamey
Yeah.
today? Instead of going, just fuck, like, I just go, just go away. I can see you there. Oh, I'm shaming again. So I can see the shaming. I'm like, I'm shaming again. Just go away. That's not like, there's something else going on, obviously. So just shutting it down doesn't help.
Mm,
Also, the other thing was like I can have peace now
mm,
by doing this stuff and see, yeah, what brings me peace. So really going well, and going out and doing that,
yeah,
yeah. And I need to trust myself that this work will help me make money and do the things and achieve my goals. So I
okay.
would like to do some goal stuff with you. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Let's do.
Um, so I can have what I feel like is missing now
Yes.
because
It's
I'm like trying to get to this thing over there
yeah,
and
yeah,
hating life in the meantime. Not exactly, but you know what I mean. Like
yeah, yeah. And so
it's here,
accessing it and building the evidence. Yeah.
building evidence. Yeah. So gratitude. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's gratitude. There's also like peace when you feel peace. Be like, is this what peace feels like? Ooh, this is nice. What does peace feel like for me?
When you're not good, even when I was bushwalking, I was like, I don't feel peaceful right now. I'm like, like, but I'll keep trying. Uh, but you've also got to put yourself in peaceful situations, right?
Yeah,
I
yes,
can see. I was really proud of myself for my birthday. I decided instead of going into a busy restaurant and all this stuff and seeing people, I just had my partner and her parents and son, and we had a little sausage sizzle at a waterfall
that is perfect.
and a little walk. Instead of like, I used to choose really stressful things.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, why did I do that? I was just reflecting, like, I used to like put on these huge parties and get really upset at everyone because I like fed everyone and everyone, I don't know. Like, anyway,
That's
I was
so
like, wow, I chose
nice.
something really kind of boring, but that's peaceful. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was peaceful. There you go.
I love that example because it shows you really honoring your nervous system.
Yes, because I was like, actually, I don't think a rest like all that. I can't hear everyone, and and yeah, it was so peaceful.
Yeah,
But
right.
it feels, in my mind, peaceful is boring,
Yeah.
but not. It was so lovely. It was just kind people. Yeah, nice food. Yeah,
And so the part that says it's boring is the part that is making it hard to self-regulate.
yeah, I would say so. I
Yeah.
think peaceful means in maybe that part's mind that you're gonna come like your mind is still and stuff will come up. So you can't have peace. You can't do that stuff. You got to be busy all the time, loud
Yeah.
noises and lots of people. But my nervous system's like, I can't cope with that anymore. So figure that out.
Yeah, the nervous system will go because it's more body based, not thought based. Whereas
Yeah,
the one that's like, oh, this is boring, but the nervous system's like, I like this.
I like this. This feels really good. This is what I needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So figure that out. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think you got what you came for, which is great.
Yep. And some.
It's so amazing. All right, I'll see you in your next session
Thank you very much. Great.
and have a great week.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Kate.
Bye.
Bye.